Roughly 2 years ago or so, a brand new 3D platformer was confirmed as an Xbox One console exclusive with Super Lucky's Tale, and pretty much everyone thought the same thing. This game probably should have been on a Nintendo platform. It looked like a pretty interesting 3D platformer, it did get some mediocre review scores, and it seemed like it was a decent but a bit uninspired when it came to the 3D platformer genre. Well, new Super Lucky Tales was confirmed for the Nintendo Switch, a revamped and re-improved version of the Xbox One game, and I ended up getting a review copy of this game and I was kind of interested to check it out. I do like 3D platformers, I do like N64 inspired 3D platformers, and Super Mario 64 is honestly one of my favorite games of all time. And to be real with you guys, new Super Lucky's Tales actually shocked me, but was it a good shock or a bad shock? That's what we're gonna figure out in this video. So sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's review new Super Lucky Tales for the Nintendo Switch. So like many 3D platformer games and platformer games in general, there is a story in new Super Lucky's Tale, but I really didn't care all that much about it. The gist of it is, you're playing as a fox named Lucky, and Lucky must find the pages of the Book of Ages because an evil guy named Jinx is basically trying to get these pages and do bad things with them. It's pretty much just a catalyst for why you're playing and pretty much why you're in this world, and you basically go into different hub worlds and then try to find different pages. Now within these hub worlds are the levels of the game, and that's where things kind of get interesting. There are 4 ways to get pages within the levels of the world. Basically, the first way is to, of course, complete the level. You can also acquire 300 coins within a level to get another page. You can also spell out the word lucky by collecting L-U-C-K-Y within the levels, and of course there are hidden pages within the levels as well. So each level has 4 different pages that you can get. And the point of getting these pages is to unlock the boss battle. You have to have a certain amount of pages in order to unlock the boss battle door, much like the star system in Super Mario 64. So it's not really reinventing the wheel and anything like that, but what I find interesting about new Super Lucky Tales is that how much gameplay variety there is within the levels of these games, because there's many different styles of levels. Now the main hub worlds in this game are 3D, and you basically just go around and go inside of the different levels from there. But the different levels actually have different gameplay varieties, and there's actually like 5 different gameplay styles, almost technically 6 when you're talking about the level design. The main one is of course a 3D platformer. These levels are more open, and there's usually some sort of objective that you need to complete within this level in order to defeat the level and get the main page. There are 2.5D levels as well, where it's mostly side to side, but you can go back and forth in the environment as well. There are standard 2D levels that just have you moving left to right with no sort of background interaction. There are top-down levels in which you are doing basically a puzzle sort of thing, almost like a maze thing, and trying to find different things within these levels. And there are actually endless runner levels where you don't control Lucky's movement, you just control his jump and his burrowing, which we'll talk about in a moment. So I honestly really like the level variety in this game. You never really knew what the next level was going to bring, and I like the different gameplay varieties because most of them work pretty well. I will say the 2D levels don't feel quite as inspired as some of the 3D levels, but for the most part it feels very nice. All of these gameplay varieties actually work very well, and it keeps you on your toes. The 6th sort of level thing are these hidden levels that are basically little puzzle things that you have to move these statues and get them on these green things in order to get another page for the book. These are kind of little brain teaser things that get more difficult as you go throughout the game. I honestly didn't check out too many of these, but the ones I did check out were pretty fun until I got to one that I was just kind of stuck and I was like, screw this. But I definitely appreciate the gameplay variety in the game. Now, Lucky has many different moves at his disposal. He can do a standard jump, he can do a double jump, he could do a double jump with a tail whip, that's an attack. He can do a tail whip while on the ground. He can actually burrow underneath the ground as well, or slide across surfaces, because there's different types of surfaces. Some surfaces you can go underground to avoid obstacles and some things, and some surfaces are hard surfaces in which you'll slide across them. Also, when you're jumping, you do sort of a homing attack as well in order to take out your enemies, and honestly, everything feels very fluid, and I feel like this is in part due to the camera system in the game. One of the main complaints about the original release on the Xbox One was that the camera system was just crap, and in the new Super Lucky Tales, they've actually really improved the camera system in this game. It feels a lot better than it did in the original Xbox One game, and I think it actually makes it a better playing game as well, which is very important when you're playing a platforming style game. Now you'll come across a bunch of different levels and different worlds within this game, and I feel some of them stick out a bit more than others. The ones I really liked were an island called Gilly Island, which, not Gilly the Kid, but this was sort of a tropical island that I thought was really cool and had some nice graphical effects. There's also a wrestling themed place, which of course as a wrestling fan I really enjoyed. Lots of references to wrestling culture and things like that. And there's even a Macho Man inspired reference in there and a character that I really enjoyed and thought he was really cool. Cream of the crop!
Cream of the crop!
But definitely the best level in this game was this haunted amusement park level that really caught me off guard, but is one of the most creative levels in a platformer that I've ever played. Basically, you're trying to collect tickets in order to unlock different things, such as letters, get a train ticket in order to access a different area, or other sorts of things. And the way you get these tickets is by completing basic mini games. You go around this large area, completing different styles of mini games. This level was honestly my favorite level in the game. It definitely sticks out among the other levels and was really, really fun. Now, besides all the other level types that you have within the game, there are also boss battles at the end of a level as well. Honestly, most of these boss battles are pretty simple, and that's something we'll get into a bit more in the review, but I did find that the final boss of the game did offer a little bit of a challenge. Now, once you've played and completed the game, there are also additional things you can unlock as well, such as guardian medals. These are basically different sorts of trials that have Lucky doing some more difficult things. It definitely adds to the replay value of the game, and is something I thought was pretty cool. You don't necessarily need to complete all of the levels when you're playing the game in order to unlock the boss battle, so it's fun to go back and check out other levels. You can also customize Lucky as well by getting different sorts of outfits that you can unlock by playing the game and purchase with in-game currency. I went with the top hat because, I don't know, the top hat looks kind of cool. As far as the presentation is concerned in the game, I honestly think it's pretty good. All of the different worlds that you visit sort of have a centralized theme. So like I said, there's the Gilly Island, which has a very tropical theme, and of course the Haunted Island, which is kind of haunted and spooky. Within these levels, you'll find different sorts of enemy types that you'll encounter. There's some nice little graphical effects that happen with things going on in the background, and there's some interesting scrolling mechanics used in the game as well. It uses a good variety in the 3D levels and the 2D levels to sort of make them feel unique and make them feel different. There's also different little lighting mechanics that happen within the game. A lot of the graphics have actually been improved over the Xbox One version, and some of the artwork has actually been redone for these levels as well. Now, when playing these levels, occasionally there can be a little bit of a frame rate hiccup, and I wasn't really able to easily replicate this frame rate hiccup, but it did happen from time to time. It definitely wasn't super noticeable. It definitely didn't happen a whole hell of a lot, but it is something I wanted to mention. Occasionally you'll see some draw in the backgrounds and stuff in the bigger 3D levels. Sometimes little things will pop up in the background, but for the most part, I think the game uses a great variety of colors. I think the textures look nice and clean, and Lucky himself looks really well done. One thing I think they did really well in terms of graphics of the game was the boss battles. The boss battles are definitely very fun, but I think they stick out from the other levels as well. You're usually having to defeat a certain enemy type, and there's usually some gameplay mechanics thrown in there, but everything looks very nice, everything looks very smooth, and everything looks very fun. The Gilly Island boss battle was definitely my favorite though, and if you just played Luigi's Mansion 3, it might actually remind you of a level within that game, which I thought was really cool. Now, as far as the audio is concerned, once again, it's pretty solid. There's not really any memorable tunes. I didn't find myself humming any of the songs, and the dialogue uses a sort of gibberish system that we've seen in other platformers, but it gets the job done. It's very whimsical, very upbeat for the most part, and definitely sort of plays into the aesthetic of the game as well. Nothing really super memorable, but it does get the job done as far as music is concerned, and all the sound effects sound decent enough as well. Now, as far as my complaints are concerned with New Super Lucky Tail on the Nintendo Switch, I do have some. Like I said, I think that the 3D areas are a bit more inspired than things like the 2D areas in terms of platforming. Some of the levels definitely stick out more so than other levels, and it can be a bit too cheerful for some people. The occasional frame rate hiccup does happen. Like I said, it's not a very often thing. Once in a while, you'll see some pop-up as well. But I think my main complaint about New Super's Lucky Tail is just the fact that the game is a bit short, and it's definitely very easy. I beat the game in about 5.5 hours, and that was kind of struggling with the final boss battle. Once I figured out all his patterns, he was pretty easy though. But the game in general, like I said, is pretty short, and it's pretty easy to beat. Now, the additional challenges that you unlock once you defeat the game are definitely ramped up. There's things like different boss battles and revamped boss battles and revamped sort of areas that you visit in order to do these things and get these 16 additional guardian medals. So I do feel like that does add some replay value. And the puzzle system in the game that has you moving the top-down pieces definitely adds some replay value to the game as well. But I really think the game is solid enough and good enough to where you'll want to continue to play this game. When I played this game originally and beat it, I actually didn't record any footage of it because I sort of just wanted to experience the game as I was going along. And then when I went back to record all the footage, I realized I was having a lot of fun with this game, and it honestly shocked me. It's definitely a bit on the easy side. I feel like 3D platforming experts will probably have a breeze with this game, but like I said, the additional challenges will sort of extend the longevity of this game. It's definitely not, giving Super Mario 64 a run for its money, but since the 3D platformer and the platformer game genre in general is sort of fading out a bit, I do think this is a very solid addition to the Nintendo Switch. I'm actually enjoying this game so much that I probably will end up picking up a physical copy of this game just because it shows that they have improved a lot of stuff over the original Xbox version of the game. Areas are different, levels have been tinkered with, levels are even new in this game, and the additional content definitely makes this game feel a bit better than the Xbox One version of the game. If you're looking for a super solid 3D platformer that you'll have some fun with, I think New Super Lucky's Tale is definitely a game worth checking out because it really shocked me with just how much fun I was having with this game. And those are my thoughts on New Super Lucky's Tale for the Nintendo Switch. I probably said the name wrong. I don't know where that little apostrophe S goes in. Is it New Super Lucky's Tale? Like, that's hard to say, so I've been struggling saying that in this video. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this video and got some information on this game to see if it's a game that you should pick up. So let me know in the comment section down below what you think of this game. Did you play it on the Xbox One? Are you going to be playing it on the Nintendo Switch? Or are you just not a fan of 3D platformers? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Be sure to check out other videos on the channel. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.